What is up, guys? Thanks for coming in for another one of my YouTube videos. Don't mind the birds in the background if you hear them. Great, I hope you love birds. There's gonna be quite a few. I'm recording this video inside but with the windows open. I'm gonna be playing some Minecraft as well, trying not to die while reading some Reddit stories. So, thanks for coming in and let's chill and just vibe out, guys. Let's start with that first story. My mother-in-law wants us to file for bankruptcy for her debt. Already not a fan. Don't go into bankruptcy for other people's problems, but we will see what is going on here. Buckle up, because this story is 20 plus years in the making. My husband, who is 29, and I, 27, are recently married, but we're college sweethearts and have grown together for 8 plus years. For context, I grew up in a big family that wasn't always well off, but worked its way up to upper middle class, and my parents are both still married. My husband came from a poor background where his parents were divorced and his mom raised him. He really only saw his father for 1 to 2 holidays or when they were both visiting the paternal side's family cabin at the same time. He lived with his mom, her boyfriend, S, and one of his half sisters. My husband, BF at the time, was upfront that he intended on dating with the plan of marriage. As such, he was honest about his home life and finances. One day, a year into the relationship, he let it slip that his mother had taken 4 credit cards out in his name while he was still a child. Not sure how or when he found out, but Miss Mom found out that she was still paying them off. Naturally, I expressed how this was not okay and that he needed to get those accounts/cards in his control. He was hesitant to do so, believing that his mom was indeed paying them off. In hindsight, he was probably more hesitant because he still lived with his mother. He also didn't want to file for fraud because he didn't want his mom to go to jail. Understanding that his mom was a single mom of 2 kids, it would have had many financial struggles while raising them. I gave his mom the benefit of the doubt, but still nudged hubby to monitor his mother's progress on paying them off every so often. The year after that, my hubby, BF at the time, told me that he had to file for bankruptcy because of something unrelated to the credit cards that his mother did. From my understanding, when he was a toddler, his mother claimed him as being severely autistic and filed to receive disability payments from the state. Dad had been receiving those payments up until he was 23 or 24. When I first met my hubby, he told me that he was autistic and truly believed he was. I have a medical background that includes experience working one on one with adults with autism and Asperger's. I can say with 95% certainty that this man is not autistic, but he definitely has ADD, which can be mistaken for autism sometimes. Apparently, the state was reevaluating his case when he hit his early 20s and notified him and his mother that they were. While reevaluating his case, the state was still sending them disability checks. Instead of not cashing the checks like you're supposed to in this case, his mother continued to cash the checks. A year later, the state determined that he should have never been receiving checks for disability and sent an invoice requesting repayment of over 20,000. For some reason, I would have thought that would have been a lot more, especially after 23 years. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this terrain. Not big fan of the snow. I hate when I get stuck in the snow. But let's see if we can find something. Oh, you're dead. Nice. Let's keep reading. The debt was in hubby/BF's name because the checks were for his disability. The mother has a background in law/finance, and I suggested that they ask my mother for advice on this. Instead, he allowed his mom to help him file for bankruptcy and was under the impression that the debt was gone. I don't think that's how that works. Fast forward to 2025, when we were wedding planning and living in our own place. At this point, I suggested that my husband finally get control of those cards/accounts since we were still sharing financing and need to monitor those accounts. He agreed, but wanted to wait until after the wedding because his mom was already causing problems with just us trying to plan the wedding. For example, picking random fights and being hostile to people we employed to help plan the wedding. It was getting to a point we were considering disinviting her from the wedding for how ridiculous her behavior was. I was fine with waiting until after the wedding. We also met with the finance people of my family to plan how we would join our finances. My brother was/is our financial planner. He looked over our financials and suggested we meet with a colleague of his to discuss consolidating our debt. We met with this colleague who put up our credit reports and we were shocked to see the scores/reports. We knew mine wasn't going to be great, but hubby's credit score was normally in the 700s despite his mother's past antics and it was now 590. The colleague shares his screens so we can see what the issue with our card is, and I can feel hubby tense up when he sees his report shows 20 plus thousand in debt. Oh, okay, that sucks. What the hell was that sound from that pig? Hubby texted his mother about the debt. We learned that the state had still been sending letters starting this debt still needed to be paid, but they were being sent to his mother, who never shared them with us. She then told us not to worry and that declaring for bankruptcy will wipe the debt clean. This is when we realized that hubby hadn't declared bankruptcy all those years ago and that his mother just kept quiet about this, still being a problem for almost 4 years. Ouch. I would be pissed. It's your mom and all, but bro, how's your mom gonna not tell you about her not declaring bankruptcy for you? She even helped you out. What's her like? She's doing this for herself. She's not doing it for you. There's no way you forget for 4 years. But let's see. Let's build some more equipment here, and let's also keep going on with the story. I was livid at this point and called my mother. My mother used to assist clients filing for bankruptcy. My hubby's mom is texting nonstop trying to convince us to file for bankruptcy. My mom explaining that doing that would make any big financial moves, for example, buying a house, car example, impossible for the next 10 years. There are fees costing thousands of dollars to just file for bankruptcy, and that it requires multiple court appearances. My mom was arguing us not to do this. I wanted to find mother-in-law and rip her hair plugs out of her scalp. Dang, she's pissed. Here we are trying to start a new life and hoping to start a family in the next 2 years. And his mother, who has already lived a life built on my husband's credit, has the nerve to tell us to give up our plans for the future so that the debt she caused by the disability checks and the 4 credit cards can get washed away. Not if I had anything to say about it. My husband was withdrawn after all this time. It was really starting to sink in how financially abusive his mother was. His behavior before, during, and after the wedding also didn't help. Okay, so they still got married. It seemed like every bridge hubby tried extending to her, she was burning. He also reminisced on how his half-sister got more preferential treatment, having no fraudulent debt in her name, and being allowed to do gymnastics. When hubby asked to join, he was only ever given a summer pass to the local pool. Hey, you gotta take what you can get, brother. My mom was amazing and found the paperwork needed to file an appeal with the state on the 20K debt. My mom helped him fill out the papers. It can take months to years before the state even reviews the appeal and gives their verdict. We are still waiting to hear back, but my mom's confident that the appeal will go through, and hopefully it does. A few months after the wedding, my husband sat down with mother-in-law and told her we are now sharing finances and hoping to plan a future where we can afford to start a family. We needed to monitor our credit and finances more closely. He asked for the cards and the accounts and said she'll be paying him directly. She blew it. My husband did not tell me exactly what she said, but learned that she had been ruining credit checks on us when she told hubby to focus on getting me to stop opening cards. Dang. Our dog had to be rushed to the vet a week before this conversation because he was vomiting blood and fainting. Oh, poor doggy. He had an extensive workup done and were worried about the cost. His mother knew that our dog was very sick and needing tons of medication. We had opened a care card online while waiting in the exam room to be able to pay for the vet bill. Don't worry, he is fine now, just a horrible case of gastritis. Gastritis, is that. I'm assuming when you have a buildup of gas, but let's look it up afterwards. I'm getting into the story. You know what? Just look it up actually. Gastritis, inflammation of the stomach's protective lining, often caused by infection, regular NSAID, pain reliever use, or excessive alcohol. Huh. That does not seem very good to have. In addition to that revelation, his mother said some awful shit to my husband about his quote unquote flaws. He didn't tell me what she said, just said that she reminded him that he's worth nothing. From what my husband said, she was then yelling horrible things about me. He refused to tell me what it was, and he blew up on her and quit his job at her restaurant. Before leaving, he told her that if he did not receive those cards/accounts in a month, he would be reporting fraud. I had no idea he planned on having this conversation that night and only found out when he texted me about it while I was at work. Let's make another chest. Keep all of our stuff in here. This has been pretty peaceful world so far. Not many zombies. They went over 2 weeks not speaking to each other, which was the longest I've seen. Although his mom is a piece of work, they were still pretty close. So this entire event surprised me. My husband was applying for new jobs, but was worried it'll take a while to find something. We took a page from his mom's playbook, and he applied for unemployment to get some of the income supplemented in the meantime. After 2 weeks, his mom called him crying and wanted to make amends. They spoke and spoke, but no cards or accounts were handed over. Not long after that, mother-in-law sent my husband angry text saying, how dare he apply for unemployment, and that she had to pay $300 because of it. My husband just rolled his ears and ignored her. She wouldn't have to pay any more to unemployment though, because my husband was able to get a job after 3 weeks of searching. Congrats to him. It's tough out there, especially in this job market. The hours weren't great, but the pay and benefits were good. Unfortunately, it has been well over a month, and mother-in-law still hasn't handed over the cards/accounts. I think she still sees her son as the non-confrontational guy he once was. But moving out and getting married gave him a spine and more confidence. My husband was forced to call the credit card companies and report the fraud. The accounts are shut down and she's being investigated. It's up to the law if she's going to jail or not. I think he should get a lawyer as well. Between what she said, her behavior surrounding the wedding, and the financial abuse, we are now low contact with her, and I don't think mother-in-law can repair the hurt she put her son through. My husband has been visiting my parents more. I'm thankful for my parents for being so loving as to welcome him as their son. There are some days where he is the favorite child, to be honest. He needs parents that will be there for him and give him adult advice without a hidden agenda. He has mother-in-law muted on all communications so he can see the messages but not get spam when she finds out and loses her Now we sit and wait. Edit. Someone brought a few details to my attention that I should probably clarify/explain. I'm a cardiac nurse. I'm good at math, but finance has never been my strong suit. When it came to the disability payments, I assumed that they were state issued and not federal, hence why I kept referring to them as a state matter. Obviously, I had no hand in filing that paperwork, I just know it was done. As far as mother-in-law telling us she had to pay for our unemployment check, This one I'm also lost on, just as much as you all are. I know this is not something the employer pays. I just know she claimed she did not have to pay it. I don't know if it's a manipulation tactic or what. I'm just as confused as you all are. We filed other cards as fraud and logged our credit. I'm not complaining, but I do want to share this story and bring parent-child finance abuse more awareness. I did type this story while sleep deprived and didn't want to make it too long, so if you need clarification, just ask. Pretty good story. I do have something to say about her getting married to the guy though. She was getting married knowing about his step. I feel like his mom ruined his life, but now you're getting yourself into that mess. At least wait until he's in a more reliable and better off position. But let's read some of the comments people have. Comment 1. Dude, no. Do not marry this guy. His mother's step will legally become yours. And the poster replied with, kinda late for that. ... We are married. Considering one's fraud and one's likely to be appealed, we should be okay. She has a point. Yeah, the thing is, the system's so bad and it's super slow, but I'm really hoping they're able to pull this case through and find out that the fraud was a real thing. Comment 2. Why did you marry this guy? Now it's your debt and problem. I can't believe it took this long for him to grow up. His life is ruined because of her, and now yours. This doesn't just go away overnight, especially since he's known about it too. Low contact isn't enough. She deserves jail. My mom was a single mom too, as are many others who don't put their children in financial ruin as toddlers. What a selfish woman. And the original poster? I agree that she deserves jail. And surviving 2 abusive relationships, I understand why my husband struggled to let go of someone that was hurting him. I wouldn't have married if my mom wasn't so confident in reversing the debt. I love my husband. Okay, so she has full confidence in her mom and in the system. I wish everything goes good for her. Let's see if there's any updates. And looks like there is. Perfect. 9 days later, my mother-in-law wants us to file bankruptcy for her debts. Hello everyone. I'm so scared to post an update on the situation because many people were mean in the comments. But being a listener, I always demand an update, and I guess I should see this through. If you haven't read my last post, in short, my mother-in-law has been financially abusing my husband since he was a child. This included taking credit cards out of his name and receiving disability checks from the government because of a false diagnosis of autism. So she's just giving us a rundown. Let's go to any new stuff. Let's go down. Okay, perfect. Alright, update. My husband has started a new job after leaving his mother's bar. This job paid more, gave more hours, and even had benefits. My husband met with my mother after one of his night shifts to help him compare my work benefits with his. During this meetup, my husband got help reporting the credit card fraud to the credit company and the credit bureaus. What he thought was 2 credit cards turned out to be 5, with a total of $22,000 of debt from the cards, meaning she was likely still using the cards. That's wild. Yeah, she deserves jail time. She's still going after separating from the son. Yeah, she does not care about him, cares more about herself and just spending money that's not even hers. He sent one last text to his mom telling her that she had her chance and that he was reporting the fraud. She sent a storm of responses claiming that my family was trying to brainwash him. Bro, the zombie does not die. And blame our financial situation on me. We have no idea where she gets that logic when I make 4 times what my husband did working for her, and I never took cards out in my husband's name. He showed my mother the responses mother-in-law sent him, and my mother lost her Neither will tell me verbatim what witch-in-law texted. All I know is that my mom changed her opinion from tolerate her in small doses to F her, cut that toxic B out. Now that the fraud is reported, the card companies have closed the accounts and they will be investigating the matter. In my mother's experience, unless the amount is over 10K, which none of the cards total to, it's unlikely there will be jail time in her future. But it will go on her record. She will be on the hook for the debt and she will be fined. It won't be long until the fraud is traced to her since the cards has had her contact information listed. As for the disability payments that the government wants payback for, we are still in the same waiting period as the last post mentioned for appealing the debt under my husband's name. We are still very confident it will be approved since my husband met all the criteria for the appeal with proof provided. Whether that debt goes under his mom's name or is forgiven, we will have to wait and see. The decision can take months to over a year, so we will be waiting. We are now in contact with mother-in-law. My husband rarely cries, but her abusive texts and behavior of the last year forced him to cut her off. He was still at my parents' house when he had said goodbye for good and blocked mother-in-law on everything. Good for him, man. My parents reminded him that he's a part of the family now, and he isn't without parents. They gave him a hug, which his bio parents never did, and they took him out for breakfast to make him feel better. My husband now has the loving parents he deserves, and I'm proud to be part of a family that loves and helps others. What the hell? Bro. Okay. We win this. Or run. Bro. Alright, time to cut the video. Shoot. Nah, let's keep going. Cool, so I started from spawn again. I had keep inventory on, so we're all good. What do you guys think? Should I play with keep inventory on, or should I just risk it all? I die a lot, so please keep that in mind. Let's move on to the next story, and it's hopefully not die again to a bear. And new story. So I think I accidentally met my bio dad, and he might be my new soccer coach. 16, never met my biological dad. My parents were young when my mom got pregnant. My dad had gone off to travel the world before my mom found out she was pregnant, and she had no way to contact him. I had pictures of him, and my mom told me about him, / told me stories. So my mom is white, and my dad is black, resulting in me being biracial. We happen to live in a predominantly white area. I play varsity girls soccer at my high school. We got a new coach this year. Today we had a meeting with him. He was a black guy. I instantly recognized his face. I just couldn't think from where. He then told us his name. It's a more common name, but the same as my dad. Then he talked about how he used to go to this high school and he traveled a lot and learned how other countries play soccer, aka football. Things were clicking way too much with my new coach and bio dad. I went home and looked at the pictures I had of my dad. They have the same face. I'm going to tell my mom about it when she gets back from work. That's crazy. It might just be him, considering he went to the same school, traveled just like his mom said, same race and everything. Let's see what some of the comments are saying so far. I would love to hear how this turns out. I'll probably give an update post. As of now, my mom is freaking out. Comment 2. That's crazy. Hope it turns out well. Do you have a stepdad in the picture? She responded with, my mom has a boyfriend. They've been dating for 4 years. Interesting. Let's see if there's an update. And there is. Perfect. Hey everyone. I didn't expect so many people to want an update. For those wondering how my mom was unable to contact him, my dad was in foster care for most of his life, so he never had a family. So when my mom was unable to contact him, she couldn't ask anyone. It's fair enough. So my mom and I talked about it for a while, trying to figure out the best idea. We decided that she didn't work / was able to pick me up from practice. she would talk to him. Before then, I got to see him as just my coach. He's a good coach though, tough but good. Thursday was the day she was able to. I got in the car and had to wait for my mom to talk to him. At the time, it felt like I was waiting forever, but it was only half an hour. My mom came back emotional. She said my dad was understanding about not knowing because he also knew it was pretty much impossible when he was gone for a few years traveling. He told her something like familiar about me, and he had gotten emotional at the thought of having a kid. He needed time to process everything before we could meet slash talk in that way. My mom gave him her number to let her know when he was ready. This morning he called and we met for lunch. It was slightly awkward at first, but we found out a lot about each other and realized we have similar personalities. My mom and him talked more afterwards, and he wants to be a part of my life. Damn, that's crazy. That's actually him. First comment, hey, same thing. That's what the hell was that? Did I know the polar bear? No, I think we're good. Alright, comment one. That's pretty crazy. Any half siblings? She says no. Someone else says, start slow, just work on being friends. And she says, thank you. Damn, that is pretty wild. Um, of all the places he could have been, he goes back to the school he started off with, and he finds out he has a daughter. Um, pretty weird stuff. But let's go ahead and move on to the next story. And while we're at it, let's see if we can get out of ice, this ice realm. Next story. How to tell, how to help tell my son he's going to repeat second grade. This wasn't an easy decision, and he's super sensitive. But he's a year behind, and end of testing puts his ELA level at first grade first fourth month. He's very aware of his struggles, has expressed embarrassment that he's always behind in class, is aware other kids are talking level 3 to 4 AR level test, and that he's often unsure on how to do classwork while others breeze through. He's also on the younger end of his class, just turned 8 a few weeks ago. He's in speech, reading intervention, resource, and has IEP. And we are working on ADHD diagnosis and potential medication options. But he really just needs a year to catch up. I'm not looking for reasons we shouldn't retrain him. Yes, I'm aware of the research. We thought of things like he would be the biggest kid in the class, he would be older than most kids, he would be the best in sports, and the work would be a lot bit easier for him because he's already familiar. But I know it's going to break his heart when we tell him. Looking for suggestions. ETA, again. I'm not looking for reasons we should not retrain him or options on retention. His confidence is already super low. Sending him to third grade with a current ELA level of grade 1.4 is not going to help. Yeah, it's unfortunate. What are they even teaching people on second grade? Shapes? Or are you actually dealing with numbers at that point? Let's read some of the top comments. Is it possible for you to switch schools? I've seen a lot of kids repeat over the last couple of years, and the ones who go to different schools seem to fare best. We've considered that, and it's still an option, but we are leaning more towards keeping at his current school. His current school is the highest rated by quite a bit in the area. His teacher is amazing, literally the best teacher I've ever met. She was a special education teacher for 10 years before moving to general ed 3 years ago. She texts me regularly and even came to his birthday party a few weeks ago. Oh, that sounds like a cool teacher. She def has a special relationship with him, and she's the first person he told that he feels sad when he sees that he's so far behind. She took it upon herself to modify his work before we got his IEP officially switched over to Nevada. She's just an amazing person. The school also has an amazing speech therapist and resource teacher. We'll risk losing that by switching schools. When we tell him, I think we will give him the option of switching schools, but I suspect he will want to stay because of his teacher and because he has lots of friends currently in first grade. Okay, and let's see if there's an update. Yeah, 4 months later. I posted a few months ago looking for advice on how to tell my son he was going to repeat second grade. I got so many supportive comments and DMs, so I would like to give an update. Um, is this gonna keep me safe? Let's just close this up real quick and then maybe take a quick nap. But in the meantime, let's keep reading. I didn't have to tell him because he was asked to stay with a second grade teacher. My husband and I decided we'll let him finish the school year, then tell him a few days after the last day of school. Well, on the last day of school, during breakfast, I said, "Dude, last day of second grade, how are you feeling about being a third grader?" He responded with, "I don't know. I'm kind of nervous about third grade because I know they read much harder books. I wish I could stay with Mrs. S next year, but I know I can't." I replied with, "Well, that might actually be possible. Staying with Mrs. S is something Daddy and I were talking about, but we wanted to talk to you first." We talked about it every night for the next 3 nights, and he remained adamant he wanted to stay in second. We even tried to talk him out of it. We talked about the possible cons of it, that kids might be mean about it or just ask questions about why he's in second again. We've used this summer to prepare and practice responses. He's now a month into the school year and is just radiating confidence. Every day he comes home with positive recaps of the day, finishing his work before other kids, completing AR tests. His teacher is even asking him to help other students, and all sorts of new friends. It's the best decision we've ever made. I tried to post this about a month ago with the link to my initial post, but the post was denied and I got a 30-day ban for the link. So you'd like to reference my initial post? Just search my own in the group. Thank you so much to everyone who contributed with advice and support. Hey, that's so cool. Let's see what people are saying. This is so wonderful. As someone who has worked with struggling students, it makes me so happy to read this positive outcome. I hope this experience helps your child to love school and keep his confidence. Comment too. This is so precious. When my oldest moved out of kindergarten, a kid in her class was held back. The Lord that continues in her peer group to this day, second grade, because they still see him in mixed grade activities, is that he was so good at kindergarten that he got to choose if he wanted to go to the first grade and decided not to. Hey, dude, back in my day, if you got held that a grade, it was seen as such a bad thing. But I'm glad that's not seen as such a bad thing anymore, and it's just a way to catch up to everyone else. Just because everyone, it's different. So not everyone learns the same way. You guys keep that in mind. But cool. Let's build this spiral staircase, reach as much of the floor we can. See if we can parties find some diamonds. While we get on to our last story, my husband is awesome, but not to our children. How can it be awesome if he's not nice to your children? But we'll find out. I have been married to my husband for 5 years, and we have three wonderful children. He is a good husband and a great provider for his family. He is very smart as well and speaks sarcasm fluently. He makes me laugh even when I don't want to, and I've really come to appreciate that with our hectic life. However, when it comes to relating slash parenting our three young children, he falls very short. We often argue about whether or not he should talk to the children using sarcasm. He thinks it's fine, but I don't because they don't understand it and they think he's just being a jerk. He doesn't have conversations with them because he says he has a hard time understanding what they are saying. He rarely does anything with them, reading books, coloring, Legos, example, because he has a hard time relating to them. In turn, the kids come to me for everything. I read to them, teach them, listen to them, and try to figure out what they are saying and love them unconditionally. Yeah, he he can't be a good husband if he can't take care of your children or at least tolerate them. It seems like he's just doesn't like them at all. Let's keep on going though. And this borrow's gonna go really deep. Don't get me wrong. Oh, that scared me. Don't get me wrong. I know my husband loves his children and will gladly take a bullet for them. But sometimes I don't know if his love is unconditional. He has very high expectations of him. I often remind him that they aren't born knowing how to express their emotions without crying or knowing that things are dangerous. It's our jobs as parents to teach them. He yells at them like getting up in their face yelling, when all he has to do is explain so they can understand. They do not know how to react around him. I'm afraid to say that they might actually fear him. Actually, I know they do. Oh, that's so bad. Which is why they don't like being around him. But then he is like a totally different person around me. We have caught together and laughed our asses off. He talks to me about these wonderful and interesting things that keep us talking to each other for hours. I love this man and I am happy I married him. Yet I wonder if I am messing up my children in the meantime. So, parents of Reddit, how do I get his awesomeness into his parenting? Here are a few examples of some things he says. Honey, can you make lunch for the kids? Man, F them again. Again, joking, but he says it in front of them. Or, Daddy, do you like my picture? He says no, and toddler is walking away crying. That's wild. Dad, can I? And before he finishes his sentence, no, you have to do it. Nothing you have to do is important. Again, joking. But why is she defending him? Daddy, guess what I learned about Earth today? Wow, you must be some kind of genius then. And in parentheses, not in a loving way. Huh. Yeah, so that's the end of the story. Let's read some of the initial comments. Wow, your husband sounds exactly like my dad. Let me tell you exactly what will happen. Your kids will become more and more private and reserved. They will go through extraordinary lengths to keep you totally in the dark about their lives. They will not tell you what happened during their day for fear of being ridiculed. Hiding their emotions will be their greatest defense. They will not laugh in front of you because that is weakness. They will be paranoid about dating and love because A, they feel worthless, and B, they are afraid they will be mocked for showing emotions. This will F them up for a good long while. Once they move out, they'll probably never talk to you again of their own free will. You can email them and maybe they'll reply with a few sentences out of curiosity, but that's about it. So yeah, that's the path your husband is leading down. And comment 2. I started a throwaway for this post on the off chance someone in my family knows my ID. Your husband is not a quote unquote awesome guy. He's a complete and utter loser. He needs counseling and I don't care if he thinks he doesn't. You need to force him into it, and if that requires a ultimatum, so be it. Oh, what did I find here? Interesting. Oh, it's just, should I go down here? Yeah, let's check it around a little bit. Just make sure we light it up before we do. Um, this is going to affect your children, and the longer it goes, the more it's going to affect them. My father was a complete asshole, though of the emotionally distant kind. All of my siblings were affected. My sister ended up marrying someone who has constantly emotionally abused her for years. I've struggled with holding any kind of emotional relationship my whole life. I'm sorry if this sounds harsh, but by any objective measures, your husband is emotionally abusing your children, and it's as bad a case of emotional abuse as I've ever heard. He needs help now, and I totally agree with that. He's doing nothing but just being mean to your children. At that age, they don't know sarcasm like you were saying in the story, or they don't know how to process sarcasm like I was mentioning. He has to treat them as kids, they're not mature enough to be able to have that kind of conversation just yet. But let's read an update from her 4 days later. So here's what happened. Before I confronted him about his behavior, we got into a really heated argument after he said something really effed up to the kids once again. I basically blew my top. In the midst of the argument, I told him that I feel like he is a bully that uses his quote unquote power against his own children. because he would never talk to me or any other adult like that because he would get his A kicked. Yes, I know. I'm not proud of how I did it. However, I meant what I said. He left the house for a couple of hours after that, did not speak to me for another 2 days until I confronted him. He told me that he had nothing to say to me, since I believe that he just gets some kind of joy from disciplining our children. I told him that he had it all wrong. It was not just the discipline, but how he treats them in general. I asked him why does he feel the need to treat his children like poop. He of course disagreed. Then I finally resorted to showing him my post. Before reading it, he told me that people on Reddit will agree with him because they are just as awesome as he is. Needless to say, he was very shocked when he read the responses. He did not speak for a while and sat with his head in his hands. Dude, if it took just random people on the internet to change his mind, that is crazy. Let's keep reading while I keep exploring this cave. The next day, he took the kids to the movie, something he would never do. To see Happy Feet 2. Again, something he would never do. The kids were so happy. The first time he took them anywhere by himself. That night we talked that and I told him how happy I was that he did that, but he has to do more. He needed to change his attitude, especially in parenting. He admitted that he had no idea that he was being a jerk. He thought he was just being funny and no harm was being done. While he is still reluctant to see a professional, he did agree to be looking for a therapist that he would feel comfortable with. Hey, that's good for him. I honestly believe that showing him what I posted on Reddit and the responses I got back made an absolute difference in my husband. Your responses showed him that he was some messed up poop, whether it was his intention or not, to his kids. He did not want to be that father. He's not close to his father and he didn't want that for his kids. Thank you so much for your honesty and helpful advice. I wish I could give you all 100 karma, but seriously, I'm a Reddit success story. Dang, that is so cool. Oh wait, there's an update. Oh no. Hopefully it's a good update though. Here is the update. Husband has gotten better. He still relapses and I have to admit it. It is very hard on me. I guess I kind of expected that he would change overnight because we are talking about the well-being of his children here, but that is unrealistic. It's taking a lot of support and talking to help him change this. We have not had a lot of luck with therapy. Talking about his emotions are not his strong suit, and finding the right person is a problem as well. However, we are not giving up. He does talk to me more, so that has helped a lot too. Here's what has worked. The response/comments from the post I gave him. He often goes back and reads the comments so he can remember what the hell he is doing to his children. The responses about children that were raised like/by him help a lot. Sometimes he doesn't get from therapy or me the god awful truth of what this poop is like as a child. He keeps the printout folded up in his wallet, and I've seen him reading them at times. I don't regret doing it for a second. He needed to hear from other people what verbal abuse is and what it can do. He has so many walls up that it takes a while for him to open up and express his feelings, which is why therapy is a work in progress. Is that zombie looking at me? It's just... No. Wait, where'd he go? No, that was just a waterfall. False alarm, guys. Uh, he identifies with a lot of the people who were raised like him, and he constantly needs to be reminded why that poop isn't okay and why he needed to change. As I said, he talks to me more, especially about his emotions. I've learned that as a child, he never felt protected by his parents. His feelings were never validated. He was often bullied by schoolmates and even his siblings. It makes a lot of sense now. So here's my message to everyone. A lot of parenting is how you were in fact parented. He's doing only what he was taught to do. He was doing it subconsciously, and to that person that left this comment, which was, "Wow, your husband sounds exactly like my dad. Let me tell you exactly what will happen." It was the previous meeting that the previous comment I read earlier. So let's skip through that. You have helped both of us in so many ways. We thank you. That's super good. And then the first comment, I'm honestly glad to read your follow ups. Yeah, I am too. Oh, was that diamond I just passed? We'll go back to it here in a bit. But I'm glad that last update wasn't much of a twist and it ended up being good. And let's read up one more comment before we finish this off. Good to hear another update. How your husband was acting is how my ex treated my kids. And what that person you quoted in your post said is true. My kids are strong and doing well with minimal contact with their father. It can get better, especially if your husband continues to work on the way he interacts with them. If he struggles, it is okay for him to go to the kids and apologize. Tell them he is trying to do better and he loves them. Kids understand and forgive when given the chance. Good luck and congrats on your strength and your husband's willingness to change. Cool. Well, let's get this last piece of diamonds here, and I feel like this is a good point in the video to go ahead and stop. Appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Ciao.